Hey friendlies, it's Carolyn and welcome back to my RV life. This is Jay.
Hello.
And I met Jay last year at the RTR and she was just starting out full-time and she's been on the road full-time as an RVer now for a year. So we've got another solo woman RVer out here who is boondocking and really just making a life at it. And she's got an interesting story, so I just wanted to sit down and chat today.
So thank you very much for the opportunity. I so welcome the opportunity to just share with your fans and, you know, your friendlies, you know, how everything is out here on the road for me.
Awesome. Jay has a really interesting story, I think, not only being a woman on the road, but she's found a way to make a living on the road. She's been on the road traveling across the country since 2013.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your life over the last few years? What have you been up to for a few years?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I actually retired way before 2013, and that was a goal of mine. And I was in IT for a nice, you know, big company. So I retired, and then the opportunity came along for me to do RV transporting. And so in 2013, I came out of the sticks and bricks, put stuff in storage, and began my life on the road transporting RVs. And so I've been able to like pick and choose where I want to go, how long I want to stay, and when I want to work. So that's how I kind of, you know, earn my living, and it's real easy work. And you may have seen it on Bob's videos, but that has worked for me since 2013, and I haven't been back in stick and bricks ever since. And you know, the boondocking comes after I deliver an RV and I had my tow car, so you know, I'd find some place to park until I get ready to go pick up another RV, or I'll stay at a hotel or family, friends, etc.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been traveling on the road traveling since 2013. You've been on the road and all across the country.
Yes.
And I think this is really fascinating because one of the questions I get asked the most is, how the heck do I make a living on the road? There are so many people who want to be more nomadic. They want to give up their sticks and bricks.
Yes.
And Jay was able to give up her sticks and bricks before she even bought her trailer.
Yes.
A couple of things I think our audience might be interested in. Number one, how do you get a job like that? How do you become an RV transporter?
Yeah, well, at the time when I signed on, it was very, very simple. I just had my simple driver's license, no experience, and at the time, it was a real lenient way to enter the business. However, with that being said, I was only limited to taking like the smaller units, like the Class B's and C's, and limited to the ones that were not diesel and they didn't have air brakes. So because those require a special driver's license per the DOT. And so Department of Transportation. Okay. So we have to abide by those laws if you want to transport those type of units. So I went and got my CDL just because I wanted to. Just because. And
a CDL is basically a commercial driver's license. That's what big rig drivers have.
Yes, a commercial driver's license. And that's what you need to transport the larger ones, which pay more money.
Oh, okay.
And so hence why I wanted to get my CDL. I can take the most of the diesel pushers and the ones that are have air brakes and over 25,000 pounds.
Oh, okay. So the money is in if you get a CDL. Have you ever thought about becoming a truck driver? What would be the pros and cons of each?
Well, for me, you have the luxury when you're transporting the RVs, and trucking, you really don't have that luxury. And I believe you're responsible for goods. You know, and however, I'm responsible for that RV unit. It's just a different field. I feel like I'm on a permanent vacation.
Nice. Yeah, right. You're driving an RV that brand new. What did you say? Like several $100,000. So if you want to live and travel in style, I think that sounds like a really great way to go. Although you're not, you're not allowed to use the RV
facilities, the fridge, you know, all of the appliances. No, you don't use them because they're brand new and they need to arrive at the dealerships. as such.
In pristine, brand new condition.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you want to take care of them.
So if you're someone who is thinking that you want to live a nomadic life and maybe you can't afford your own RV yet, you still need to make a living, this might be a really good entry point to,
Yes.
and if someone is interested in this, where do you go to get a job like this?
You Google RV transportation, or RV transport, I should say, and then there are several of them that will come up.
Google RV transport.
Yes.
I think that sounds like a fun job.
I love it. You see the smile? I love it.
Yeah.
I do. I don't want to do anything else.
So you did that for several years before you bought a trailer.
Yes.
So talk about that a little bit.
Last year, I knew right then that, wow, I really want something, because I was utilizing my tow car, you know, to do this, to do the RTR, and I had a tent. So, but at that time, I made the decision that I want to get something that I can move around in. I wanted more space. I wasn't sure what I wanted. So I just happened to be at the van build in Lake Havasu, where they were doing the van build, and there was a RVer there selling his trailer. And I just happened to be there, and I was like, well, okay, it's here, opportunity, I'm buying it.
I love seeing what women do with their vans and their trailers. It's just such a different, I mean, men definitely have their own way, and they're really nice.
Yeah, well,
you know,
you're
but
girly like me.
Yeah. And then there's quilts and there's pillows. It's always just so comfy and cozy.
It is.
I love
a woman cave, you know.
Yeah, a woman cave. Yeah, a she cave. I think I heard somebody say.
Like that.
You decided that you're still transporting RVs, but in between gigs, you wanted more comfort rather than living in a car and a tent.
Yes, exactly. And I was just really kind of getting a feel for, you know, this whole boondocking thing for, you know, really full time, and to invest in something right away, like an RV or a Transit Connect or van. I wasn't ready for that yet. When I heard Bob speak about the trailers, you know, very highly, and there was one, you know, available, I said, well, I'm gonna give the trailer a try and go from there. You know, I may move to something else later on, but for starters, I'm taking baby steps.
Yep.
Got the trailer.
And that's what a lot of people do. Your first rig is never your end rig. It's always kind of like, you know, your starter rig, like Matilda was for me, until you really learn. I don't think you know what you're going to need as far as amenities, as far as space, as far as how much time you're going to spend indoor versus outdoors, and all of those things until you're out here for a while. So it really does make a lot of sense to go with something relatively inexpensive to kind of feel it out, and that's what you've been doing.
Yes, that's what I did. I'm glad I did, because I you know, I feel like I made the right move, and I didn't invest a lot of money. It didn't cost me a lot of money for the trailer. I did, however, right after the RTR in January, I went and bought the Saturn Relay minivan. Because I was going to bug it out, which I did, and it just so happens then the trailer came along, and I was like, well, I can, you know, pull the trailer with the minivan, and I'll move into the trailer and still utilize the minivan as my garage, you know. And the trailer is my bedroom.
There you go. Sounds like a great solution to a lot of problems, a lot of issues.
I feel now more prepared that I can, you know, really get into it and really begin to experience the different locations, and, you know, because I can boondock a lot longer, you know, now that I have the trailer. With a car, you're kind of limited and so much space. I got to get up, I got to move around, you know. So I can go and stay somewhere for a little while and boondock.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah. As a solo woman, one of the questions I get asked the most is about safety. A lot of people think that as a solo woman out here, especially a solo woman who doesn't stay in RV parks or campgrounds, but boondocks in public lands out in the middle of nowhere, often alone. I'm assuming you're doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
Talk about what you do for safety, and do you ever feel like you're in danger?
Seeing that I transported the RVs, as I do transport them as a living, it has really helped me to gain the confidence, because I have to, first of all, be responsible for the unit as well as my own safety. So keeping both of those in mind, I've always had that mindset that I have to, you know, take care of this unit as well as myself. So it just kind of lines up with when I'm boondocking by myself. I'm already in that mindset. I'm fairly, you know, confident that I can be successful. I've been successful since 2013 and boondocking out here by myself. As you always say, and I've heard others say, I don't feel that there's anything out here that's going to hurt me. I really don't. I don't get that, hairs don't stand up on my back, but should they do, I really know how to, do the exit real quick.
And that's it. Number one rule, listen to your gut.
Exactly.
Listen to those little hairs standing on end and get out.
No questions asked.
Exactly.
And I've had to do that with the RVs, and so I've had that experience, at a Walmart, and 3 guys drive up to your unit, and this happened to me, and I was coming out of the Walmart, and I'm like, why are they right there at my door, and they're in a car, 3 guys, and they're just right there parked with their vehicle. And so I had to come up, and I just kindly asked them, I said, do you think you're parked a little close? And they were like, no, but then they drove off. So I don't know what they were planning.
But you left.
But I left.
Smart.
Yeah, absolutely. I left, So, you have eyes in the back of your head, but it's not enough to say, now I'm afraid and all this because of one incident. No, I just do the right thing.
Exactly. And that's the thing that I always talk about, and every woman boondocker, every man, everybody who's out here, whether you're male or female, be aware of your surroundings, which is exactly what she did. And I talk about that a lot. You have to be aware and kind of, I don't even know if it's objective, but just be aware of your surroundings and notice people and what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Notice how they're acting. Are they shifty? And we talk a lot about street smarts, and I was just thinking as you were talking, we kind of have to get road smarts.
Yes, road smarts. Right? Exactly.
Right?
Yes. So boondocking for me, if I'm the only person out here, I'm not afraid. I just feel a calmness. Because as you always say too, I'm out far enough. I mean, is anyone really going to come this far in?
Exactly.
To do harm. And so, but I'd prefer not to be in the suburban areas or, the neighborhoods or stealth camping, because that's where you're more likely, I feel, to, have something go wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I say the same thing. Exactly. Yeah. It's just sheer statistics and numbers. And when you have more people, the incidents of the crime are going to be higher. People aren't going to drive 50 miles out into the wilderness hoping they'll find somebody to murder or rape or steal from.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I do not get that feeling. And, as a solo single female, we don't have the muscle, to really defend ourselves if it came to that, but there are techniques, to get out of situations.
And we have this.
Yes.
I think this and this, our head and our brain, if we use our brain and our common sense and our gut instinct, I think women, that's one thing we don't have. We may not be as strong as men, but we've got women's intuition.
Yeah, and it works every time.
I agree.
Every time.
I agree.
Commend any woman who is out here solo, RVing and boondocking and just out here doing their thing and not letting anything stop them. Oh, I'm a female. Oh, I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. Well, you get out there and learn. There's YouTube channels. There's Carolyn. There's, Carolyn's RV Life. I mean, you've helped so many women and continue to do so.
Thank you.
But we still need that, more the better.
Yeah, I agree.
We learn from each other.
I agree. And on that note of learning from each other, you have traveled all over the country.
Yes.
And one of the questions I get very often, emails, someone, I can't remember your name, you just tweeted me, and I tweeted you back last night and said, watch out for this interview. I get questions all the time from people of color and LGBT, and I think I've covered LGBT, but especially people of color, asking me if it's safe for people of color on the road in my travels. You've seen some of the places I've traveled, and you have asked me what's it like, and of course I can't answer because I am who I am. But as someone who is experienced on the road and also just happens to be a woman of color, I asked her if she would be comfortable sharing her experience with you so that you can learn from her and be motivated and encouraged.
Yes. Well, I like to first say that I honestly feel that what you project out, out into the atmosphere and out towards others, it'll project back to you. And I believe with that being said, you can turn an ugly situation, into a good situation, a good outcome. But, traveling with the RVs, even with that, you get the looks like, okay, wow, this unit had to cost you about $200,000. How'd you get it? One of those type of deals. And so, but
oh wow,
yeah, because I mean, really, what do you normally see, or who do you normally see driving these big rigs? you know, and often people feel, well, that must be theirs, they're driving it. I've had some interesting situations when it came to that. Often people are nice about it, but then I get those looks. I really do. I get the looks. Well, her rig looks better than mine, and she's, you know.
How'd she get that money?
Yeah.
Where did you know, how did she get that?
Yes. So, but again, I don't project myself that way to be, you know, a drug dealer or anything like that.
No, right.
You know, but I have not had anyone try to rob me or anything like that. Like, again, I feel that I do the right thing as far as safety. Mm-hmm. But when I'm traveling through these little towns, and even in my car, you know, because when I deliver, I still got to get back to where I'm going. And, you know, I'll stop at a little town and I want some of those boiled peanuts and, you know, they're in the little town. So, you know, I pull over and you get the looks like, and you're a long way from home, aren't you? So, you know, I just kill them with kindness, and usually it diffuses the looks, and, you know, you give a smile, and I'm non-threatening, you know, unless I have to be,
right.
But it doesn't call for that. But if they want to be that way, you know, I don't allow it to enter into where I'm going to respond in the same manner.
And I think that's a lesson for all of us. And I've said before, as someone who has had a temper and issues with authority, I can totally relate to that, because I've gone into situations with a chip on my shoulder. And I even know from my own personal experience that never ends well. You know, or if I go in there expecting a certain thing, and I love what you said, you get what did you say? You get what you
project out.
You get what you project out. And I think that's true for all of us. And for the people of color who are concerned, I think Jay is a perfect example. Look at how beautiful and bubbly, and the smile. I mean, you know,
I can't help it. I got the can't help it side. I love the smile. I love people. I probably missed my calling. I should have been, I don't know, but I love it. I love being in the nature, I should say, out here in the nature and in the atmosphere, and you know, talking to people, and just in communicating, just communicating, and I can be alone. I don't have a problem being alone. I'm not lonely. I don't have a problem being alone, and I can be amongst a group of people as well. Yeah. You know, but as you were asking about the you know, being on the road and woman of color, you know, I don't draw attention to myself. I try not to draw attention to myself, especially when I'm driving the RVs. You know, I'm not flashy or anything, or look what I got, you know, I got this RV, or look at me, I'm traveling all over the world. You know, I do it in my own subtle way, but not to bring attention to myself. Okay. You know, that keeps me safe. Okay. You know, but
I think that's true of any woman probably too.
Yeah, but just to you know, emphasize on the question you did ask me about being a woman of color on the road, you know, just driving my car, you know, I've been pulled over several times, and unfortunately, I mean, just for crazy stuff. I was driving in the far left lane like everyone else, but I got, you know, pulled over trying to find out why was I driving in the far left lane. Another time I had my high beams on, and it was foggy. I think a lot of people had their high beams on. I got pulled over.
I have to ask, and I have to ask this, and I'm probably going to get a lot of crap for this. I want to poll our Caucasian audience right now. How many of you have ever been pulled over for having your high beams on? Yeah. I'm sorry, but that's what you just go, wow.
Yeah.
And you've got another one.
Oh, the other one was the tinted windows. You know, oh, your tinted windows. Your windows are too tinted. Well, I think there was about 50 other cars that were ahead of me had tinted windows.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the big one for me was I didn't have a license plate on the front of my car. It's really funny because I saw the officer. There was two of them, and the one on the passenger side was looking really hard at trying to look in front of my vehicle, and I was like, oh my God, do I have a flat tire? What is he looking at? What's wrong? You know, what is it, something wrong? Is something, did I hit something and I don't know it, and it's still attached to my car?
A body stuck to the grill of my car.
Yes, oh my God. So then I saw the disco lights, which we all know those are. And so I pulled over, and they were like, well, ma'am, we noticed that you don't have a license plate on the front of your car, which in Texas, everybody requires you to have a license plate on your car. I was just like, oh, it must have fallen off somewhere down the line. For real, officer? You know, I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah.
But, you know, those are just little minor things that a lot of people don't have the plates on front of their car.
Right. And this is just, I think, an example of things that many of us don't have to deal with in our daily lives that, unfortunately, is a reality for some in our community.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And can you share the question you were asked when you were pulled over for the...
Okay, for driving in the left-hand lane. Yes. Well, unfortunately, before the nice officer told me why he pulled me over, his question was, you know, had I ever been arrested? And I was like, no, I've never been arrested.
Yeah.
I just said no. And I gave him the puzzled look, like, why that question?
Right.
And that was before he told me why he pulled me over.
Wow.
And he got my driver's license, and he's like, well, okay, I'm gonna check your driver's license, and then I'll be right back, you know. So he comes back, and I have a clear record. I have no tickets, I have no warnings, and none of that, and, you know, I obey the law, you know. So it was just really interesting, and he sent me on my way, and, you know, I was like, okay, well, thank you, officer. You know, thanks for the tip, you know, for telling me I can't be driving in a left-hand lane where there was 100 people that already passed you before me.
Interesting. I suspect that for many people watching this video, this is very familiar. And the reason I wanted to have this conversation is because I think that what you're going to find on the road is what you find, unfortunately, in your everyday life. While you're experiencing some things that are familiar to you just because of your life experience, you've never felt that you were in danger. You've never felt that, you know, driving, you know, to get your boiled peanuts, like somebody, like that you were in danger. It was just kind of more of the same. Could I say that? Would that be a fair statement?
It's just more of the same. Absolutely. And I, you know, when I stop in the towns, I'm curious as to where I'm at. You know, I know where I'm at. And, you know, it's like you're in Dorothy, you're not in Kansas anymore. So, you know, it's that type of attitude. And I just keep it moving, get what I need, and I keep it moving.
Okay. Be aware of your surroundings.
Yes.
And trust your gut.
And trust your gut.
So what would you say to the people of color out there who have written to me a lot and want to live this lifestyle, but are a little concerned about some of the issues that we've been faced in our society and are just concerned for their safety? What would your advice be?
Well, my advice would be, you know, you present yourself in a non-threatening manner. The aura that you bring to any atmosphere, you know, people are going to pick up on that. And being at the RTR, this is why I came back the second time, is because the people were so welcoming. I knew there wasn't going to be a large audience of, you know, people of color, but, you know, it's not just me as an African American woman, but there was a couple of Asian ladies, there was some Native American women, so it's not really
Muslims.
about me as an African American woman, but just as a whole, diversity.
Diversity, exactly.
Diversity. And I would say that it goes for the men and the women. I think if you present yourself friendly, you will make friends.
I love that.
I really do. I really do. And I've made a lot of friends, and a lot of people have said, oh, I'm so glad you're here. And, you know, it's so nice to see you. And, you know, because let's keep it real, you know, it's always predominantly the non-minorities. I guess I could say it like that.
I struggled with trying to say the exact same thing a few minutes ago. So I know exactly what you mean.
Thank you. Yes. But I don't let that intimidate me. It doesn't intimidate me. I'm not easily intimidated. I mean, I drive these big RVs. I have to go to places where you need a car to get out. You know, where places a lot of people have never heard of, their little dot on the map, you know. And so, and I already know when I'm going to those places what I'm going to encounter, you know. Again, I'm not at home anymore. So I just know how to present myself and, you know.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's double-edged sword. I'm sorry. I think, what did you say that you have to work your way into?
Integrate.
You have to integrate. I can't believe that. Can't believe that word escaped me. Well, I find it troublesome, let's put it that way, that a beautiful woman like this feels that she needs to mindfully integrate herself into a community where many of us just come in and automatically feel like we belong.
Yes.
Would that be a fair way to say it?
That would be a fair way to say it.
And that is what you also experience in many of your travels. That you kind of are eyed suspiciously until you prove yourself. Would that be fair?
Yeah, until you know, prove yourself non-threatening.
And that is a sad statement right there in itself.
Non-threatening.
Yes. And I picked up on that earlier.
Unfortunately.
You know, the bottom line is, though, that it is safe.
It is very safe. And these topics, we're only having this topic because we're, you know, just having the topic. It's an interesting topic where I feel that a lot of people choose not to go.
Exactly. And that's why I'm doing
not
this.
To, and I feel that's why we don't have a larger population of people of color, because it's not talked about, and how you can actually come out here, have a good time, and color is not even an option. I mean, it's not an issue. It's not even a conversation. It's just that we wanted to talk about it, you know, because one clarification I would like to make, and I get this a lot in my questions in the video. For me, I believe there's a huge difference between our community and traveling outside our community, and yes, I agree, our community is very diverse. I've talked about that before, disproportionately I think diverse, and for those of you who follow me and I talk about the misfit toys, I think that's why. I think a lot of us who never really felt like we fit in or felt like on the outskirts of society, I think we come here and we find home. It reminds me of a mini San Francisco. I never felt like I belonged anywhere until I landed in San Francisco, and there was people of all shapes, sizes, colors, sexual orientations, and now I was welcomed with open arms despite my geeky awkwardness. And this community kind of reminds me of that. Very, very welcoming of everyone. Yes. And so I'd like to make that distinction that that my I think the questions I get most often, there are some questions about the community and is it safe and are they welcoming, but overall I think it's been very clear that the community itself is very welcoming, very non-judgmental and open. It's the what people are really concerned about, especially the marginalized communities, the LGBT, the people of color, the Muslims, you know, all of those want to know, is it safe for me to travel across the country in some places that have a reputation for maybe not being very friendly to people like me? I'm going to put it that way. That's very well said. Yes, very well said.
And your experience has shown that
I mean, I feel comfortable outside of the community. You know, it just all depends where you are and what you're going to experience. But for the most part, I've had overall good experiences traveling anywhere. Good. Anywhere in the USA.
Good.
Yeah.
I love to hear that.
Very good.
Yay. So I think what I would hope to portray, and by doing this interview, and what I hope to give you is a little less fear, a little less trepidation about coming out here and living this lifestyle. And again, how many times have you heard me say nothing out here wants to hurt me? And while I totally understand that different groups among us, different marginalized groups, have different concerns, different experiences, you experience the community, the world in ways that I will never understand, I still believe by talking to people and understanding their experiences and helping to share that with you, you can see yourself in this and realize that for you it's safe too.
Yes, very safe.
Right?
Very safe. Yes, I'm still here.
Yay.
I'm still loving it.
And thriving, and look at that smile.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about the whole lifestyle and the work that I do. I provide a service transporting those RVs.
Yeah.
Don't want to do anything else.
How awesome is that? So she's also, not only is she living the lifestyle, she's helping other people maybe live the lifestyle as well by delivering those RVs.
Yes.
All right. Is there anything that I didn't ask that you would like me to ask, or anything? Any closing thoughts?
Well, I just want to say, I'm only speaking for me and for my own experiences. I don't want anyone to take away from this that I'm speaking for, you know, all women or all women of color, because I'm not. I want to be perfectly clear. Perfect. So if you have any questions or want to address any concerns concerning what I've said concerning me, then I'll be more than willing to answer those. But please do not take away from I'm speaking for, you know, all the women in the universe and all the women of color because I'm not. But I do hope that, you know, I run into some of you on the road who would love to come out and experience this lifestyle, and hopefully we can camp together.
Oh, you're just awesome. I love this. I'm so glad we did this. And thank you so much for agreeing to sit down with me today. I love my community. I love the questions that I get, and I love being able to bring you real life experiences to kind of back up a lot of the things I talk about, and to share experiences with you that I can't, because I'm me, and you know, I'm not everybody else. And I love that you said that, saying, you know, we can only speak from our own experience. We can only share our own experience, and hope that can encourage and inspire and educate, and bring you all out here with us.
Yes, and hopefully see you at the next RTR.
Yes, the next RTR. Thank you.
You're so welcome, sweetheart.
You rock. Thank you so much. You did such a great job. And
my pleasure.
We both hope to see you out here someday. Come on out and join us. We want everybody here. So until next time, remember to be happy, be free, and be kind.
Mwah.